Hi, I'm Samir and I'm a health coach and a PhD student based in Johannesburg, South Africa, and today I'd like to talk about my experience of reversing vitiligo. Before I begin, please do take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out. So, what is vitiligo? Vitiligo is an autoimmune disease. So an autoimmune disease is where the immune system attacks parts of the body. And in this case, the part of the body being attacked is melanin. It's the pigment that gives our skin its color, right? And so people who have vitiligo, we get these little white patches, and it's not a serious or a life-threatening condition, but if the patches are on the hands or on the face or some other place that's visible, it can really cause issues with self-confidence, and therefore it is something that I think we should take seriously. My experience with vitiligo, I was diagnosed with vitiligo when I was about 12 years old. Probably I have a genetic predisposition to autoimmune disease. It runs in the family. But also at the time I was eating a standard diet and I was eating a lot of sugar. I really liked, for example, Golden Graham cereal. I liked Klondike ice cream bars. I liked all this sugary stuff. And that wasn't helping. It was making matters worse, right? The standard of care for vitiligo treatment involves ultraviolet radiation therapy. So you sort of go into this room with lights. It's a small little tube kind of thing. Or you put steroidal creams on the affected area. And I did both of those things for years and had zero effect, right? So in terms of the standard of care, and if you go to the websites, if you do your own research, a lot of places will tell you that you can try the standard of care, but it doesn't really do that much. It may halt progress a little bit, but in my case, it didn't even seem to be doing that. The first thing I did that seems to have affected the vitiligo was I went vegan at the age of 18. Now, what happened with the vegan diet was, it's not that the vitiligo stopped spreading, it's just that the rate of spread decreased a lot. And I think that's because I wasn't able to eat all the sugary foods that I was eating as a teenager, right? When I was in my 20s and I was vegan. There was no such thing as vegan donuts, really, in the 1990s. If there were, they were very hard to find. And, it's not something you could have every day. Whereas if you wanted to have a Twinkie, you could have a Twinkie every day, right? So that's the difference that I think happened when I went on the vegan diet. Later on, so I stopped being vegan many years later, and the vitiligo just continued to spread until at a certain point it sort of spread to my wrists. And that I got a little bit afraid that if it goes on my hands, there may be problems, it won't look good. So I sort of started taking my diet a little bit more seriously and trying to reverse this. The first thing I did that seemed to have an impact was I stopped taking gluten. If you research autoimmune disease, you'll see that many autoimmune diseases, stopping gluten can be beneficial for many of them. I won't say is 100% of the time because nothing is 100%, but in my case, it at least seemed to have stopped the spread. So that's the first dietary intervention that I did, but still it was spreading. So you can see this is some video footage from 2020 that I'll put on the screen here. You can see something that looks like I'm wearing a wristwatch. That's not a wristwatch, that's vitiligo on my right hand there as I'm playing the guitar. So it was getting bad, but within a few months of this being taken, my wrist was completely vitiligo free. Now, how did I do that? I went for 6 weeks, I went on a pure carnivore diet. Well, I say pure, I wasn't 100% pure. I did have coffee and I did have a bit of chocolate, so 90% chocolate most nights I think I was having it. But aside from those two things, I was only taking muscle meat, beef mostly, and organ meats for about 6 weeks. And that really seems to have not only stopped the spread of vitiligo, but it was the first thing that reversed the progress, right? So both on my legs and on my arms, the vitiligo actually noticeably shrunk. And in the case of my wrists, it disappeared altogether. That's the first time that's happened. And remember, this is an autoimmune disease that I've had now for 30 years. So it's the first time it really happened. So what's the upshot of all this? I think we can look at carnivore diets as basically the ultimate elimination diet, right? You're getting rid of all of the lectins, all of the phytates, all of the oxalates, and known allergens like egg whites and tree nuts and peanuts, right? You're getting rid of all of that, and it does have an effect. Studies show that many autoimmune diseases have some kind of allergen attached to them, right? So if you get rid of all of those allergens, it can really help a lot. So the first upshot is, I think elimination diets in general are probably a good thing to try if you have an autoimmune disease. But then the second upshot is that the carnivore diet really is the ultimate elimination diet. And if you tried other elimination diets and they haven't worked, then I would say give the carnivore diet a shot. With that, I'm Samir Dossani, your health coach and PhD student based here in Johannesburg, South Africa. Thanks for watching.